Captain's log. Stardate. May 9th. 11:21 p.m.
The Libyans! I don't know. That's kind of the vibe I got. Wasn't a star date, it was Doc Brown.
Yeah.
But, no, we're back, and we're
talking about Shadows of Pajam.
Yeah, another pit stop on our voyage through the stars. Another Vulcan episode.
Yeah.
We've had a few that we were kind of thinking about talking about, and then Alan just, calls me up one night and he says, I have 3 episodes to talk about. And they're all back to back. Like, this is about the point where I felt that Enterprise really hit stride.
Yeah, it found its feet again.
Yeah, it had its one-off episodes, and the middle of the season is always a little murky. But this is kind of the home stretch. This is like the back third. So once again, we're dealing with the Vulcans in a way that we haven't ever seen before in Star Trek, and it's getting deeper. You're starting to see more influence and kind of almost a structure of the Star Trek galaxy.
Yeah.
And the Andorians show up again.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, just what's your thoughts on the episode?
Well, it's not really a two-parter, but it goes back to the one episode we did before.
Yeah, the Andorian incident.
The Andorian incident, where basically the fallout of that this episode is that that whole listening station that was hidden under a monastery. The Andorians gave all the people there 3 hours to leave before they destroyed the place, and they did.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of falling on Captain Archer. The Vulcans are saying, hey, look, it's your fault.
You let it happen.
We want to recall T'Pol.
Yeah.
And we really are thinking about putting another guy in charge out there.
Yeah, at this point, they still have a lot of swing when it comes to how humans move about the stars. Mm-hmm. And, there's always that element where you want to have a figurehead, but the Vulcans also want somebody they can kind of mold and twist.
Yeah.
And that just rubs everyone the wrong way, because I'd say, on the whole, Enterprise has been doing good work out there.
Yeah, they have.
And to have this shakeup just seems like a huge setback, probably putting them even back, I'd say, a decade in terms of, well, the ability to move about freely and discover humanity's place in the galaxy.
Yeah.
Well, this is like being grounded.
in a way, but later in the episode, the crew says, "Well, there's this planet over here with these wonderful ships, and it's a metropolis-style place. Let's go and take a visit." And when they do, it's Archer and T'Pol are in a shuttlecraft, and they get attacked.
Yeah.
And taken captive by this faction.
Yeah.
That lives out in a compound. And they're going to be held hostage or held for ransom. Yeah. And then again, here come the Vulcans to the rescue.
Yeah.
And the crew kind of finds out, that the government that they were initially going to go visit is corrupt.
Yeah.
And the Vulcans are allowing this.
They're allowing it because it's still that touchy element, and it's the concept of the Prime Directive and such like that. And you don't want to meddle too much, but then if you don't meddle enough, you're seen as almost as bad as helping or aiding them.
Yeah, and the Prime Directive hasn't really come up yet.
No.
In the story. Like Dr. Phlox, he knows about it, he understands it, and the Vulcans, I believe that was their big addition to. I think the Prime Directive was their brainchild, basically, right?
Well, sort of. I mean, you mix the Vulcan sense of logic and humanity's innate desire to have codified law, and they meet halfway and become the Prime Directive. T'Pol's brought up previously, where it's like she says it should be in humanity's best interest to try and understand how other cultures operate. And when you broaden your mind like that, you don't need a law, you're just understanding how to handle yourself out there.
Yeah.
But humanity's like, no, we need a charter. So eventually it does become a thing, but right now it's more about being nice.
Yeah, and once again, Archer gets his ass kicked. He gets rifle butted and stuff like that. They're trying to build up this sexual tension on the ship.
Yeah.
There's T'Pol and Archer, and they're tied back to back, and it's like, okay, baby, now if we turn around, well, he doesn't say baby.
Yeah.
Turn around and we'll help each other out, and they end up facing each other. They're tied together around the waist, and they fall over. Oops! Look what happened, T'Pol.
I can't breathe.
Smothering me with your bosom,
your mighty bosom.
But the Andorians come to the rescue because who was that leader played by Jeremy Coons?
Admiral Shran, War Admiral
Shran, who was featured in the Andorian incident.
Mm-hmm.
He shows up and he says, "I haven't been able to sleep good since your Captain Archer helped me out. Now I'm going to return the favor. I'm going to bust him out.
I'm going to bust him out, and that's going to be it. We're settled. We're square."
Turns out to be a firefight out in the compound.
Oh, no kidding. I love the Andorians. In the original series they showed up and they were kind of campy and they were a gimmick.
Yeah.
They're a really interesting people.
I think so. I think they're really cool.
I think they're amazing, and I guess that's also part of the small man crush we have for Jeffrey Combs. But man, I love Shran. And this was a perfect episode to get back into the swing of watching Enterprise.
Yeah.
Because it's going places. We're almost done the first season now.
And that's, after the rescue, the episode is pretty well over. Nothing's really, really settled.
No.
T'Pol is allowed to stay on Enterprise, and they're allowed to go on their merry way. Basically, everyone's off the hook.
Everyone's off the hook, but it's also much more symptomatic, or not symptomatic like it's a negative, but Enterprise is, at this point, starting to try to turn an arc for a season.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, the fans want kind of that Deep Space Nine where you got to kind of keep pace with the whole storyline.
Yeah.
So this episode, why it seems like such a drop-off or such a strange thing is because it keeps coming back.
Yeah.
And the arc never truly stops. So, final thoughts?
Liked it.
Well, liked it enough to talk about it.
Liked it enough to talk about it. Moving on to the next one, basically,
Yeah, pretty much.
Glad to have seen it. I wanted to talk about this because it's kind of a recurring thing. I imagine I'm going to keep talking about every time Admiral Shran shows up.
Yeah, or anytime the Vulcans reference Pajam, which is still a big thing. It's important to them. Mm-hmm. It's a black mark against their good name, and hands in the cookie jar, pants down, 6 of the best.
Pants down in front of the cookie jar, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I was mixing metaphors. But that being said, yeah, on to the next one. This was one of my... It's critically probably the best episode of the season.
Do you think so?
It got really well received. And it was at that point where the show... It had already lost as many fans as it was going to lose. Mm-hmm. And then the numbers started picking up again slowly after this. So hopefully that means more strong narrative-based episodes. And Al's been doing a great job picking. And we have 2 more to talk about in quick succession.
Later this evening.
Anyhow, from us to you, from here, out there, upwards, forwards, and ever twirling.
Live long and prosper.